Hello and welcome to For You. Over there is Nikki.
Nikki, here's Nikki.
That's you.
Oh, that's me.
Who am I?
And you are Reese.
I'm Reese.
Okay.
And we're back for day 2 of our article, No Google Maps, No Problem. Still don't agree with that title. And yesterday we saw Ruth and we saw Billy. And they were
trying to locate their hotel.
Exactly. But they couldn't connect to Google Maps.
So they had to use a real map.
Exactly, which is something that maybe not many of us have experience with, especially younger people. I think probably the people who are listening to us now are of the age where they've always had Google Maps.
Yeah, they would be like, oh, there's a map of like paper maps?
Yeah, what is this thing called paper?
Paper.
Yeah, it's almost like books as well, you know. People read books on paper? Well, the world's changing quickly and we must adapt. But I think there is some value in learning the traditional way to do some things. Yesterday we talked a little bit about this, but I want to ask you about your sense of direction.
I have zero sense of direction.
Really?
Yeah, I go to the supermarket, to the night market,
Wow.
and I go into one store, and I come out. I have no idea where I am.
Really? Is there a Chinese term for sense of direction?
方向感.
Ah, okay. Yeah, so like your direction feeling.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I have a really good sense of direction. For me, it feels almost like an instinct, you know? Wherever I am, I can kind of just automatically know if I'm facing
Really?
north,
You're like
south.
a compass.
I'm a compass. Yeah, I just kind of know where I am. And especially in a city like Taipei or really any city, you can never really be lost, right?
Yeah.
Because you're always close to like a metro station.
Oh, yeah.
Or you can just ask somebody. Yeah. I don't often get lost, unless maybe we're in the woods. All right, well, let's go into our article. And today we're learning more about how to read a traditional map.
Reading.
No Google Maps? No problem. You can't always rely on Google Maps. Here are some tips that will improve your map skills. 1. Learn map symbols. Buildings and other features on maps are represented by common symbols. In cities, these could be churches, hospitals, or subway stations. In the countryside, symbols might show hiking paths and camping areas. There's usually a key to help you understand the symbols, but learning them will speed things up. 2. Use the grid. Maps are divided up into squares to make it easier to find different locations, so use them. 3. Point the map the right way. Make sure you're heading the right way. You can use nearby landmarks to check, or you can use a compass to find north. 4. Pay attention to the scale. Check the scale of the map so you can understand distances. This will tell you how far you are from your destination. What's more, it allows you to guess how long it'll take to get there. Good luck!
So today's article begins by saying you can't always rely on Google Maps. Here are some tips that will improve your map skills. That's something that we could all use. Let's talk about this word improve before we learn how to get better at using maps. That's kind of what it means. Improve is a verb and it means to get better or to make something better. If you want to improve at something like a sport or playing a musical instrument, you should practice. That will make you improve. Here's an example sentence. If the weather improves later, we could go for a bike ride.
课文一开始就告诉我们不能每次都靠 Google Map， 于是呢，他就列了一些小技巧来跟我们说要怎么提升我们看地图的技能。Improve 是动词，指的就是改善或者是改进。For example, if you want to improve your English speaking ability, you should practice more. You should talk in English more often. 那 improve 的名词呢，就会是 improvement， 指的就是改进、改善或者是有起色。So maybe after practicing your speaking ability, you can see a big improvement. 例句说，如果等一下天气变好，我们就可以去骑脚踏车。
I think we should all be on a journey to improve ourselves.
Self-improvement.
Self-improvement is
Never
very...
ending.
Yeah, there's always something to learn and something to get better at. Another word in that sentence to talk about is the word skill. S-K-I-L-L, it's a noun, and a skill is an ability. That's something that you can do, and you can do it well. A skill can be almost anything. So riding a bike is a skill, and so is playing a sport. To get better at a skill, to improve, we should practice and train. But skills don't have to be physical. They can also be mental. So that means kind of in your brain. Being a good writer is a good skill, or being a good speaker, that's another good skill. Here's an example sentence. One of my best skills is cooking, so I'm going to try and find a job in a restaurant.
Really?
No, I'm terrible at cooking. That was pure example.
Skill 是名词，指的就是做某件事情的技巧或者是技能。那在这边文章就是要告诉我们要如何改善我们看地图的技能。那 skill 呢，通常指的是一个经由练习或者是学习而获得的技能。如果我们是说 talent 天赋或者是天分，指的就是比较与生俱来的，或者是 expertise 指的就是比较专门的技能或者是知识。Okay, so what's the first step?
Well, the first step is to learn map symbols. Buildings and other features on maps are represented by common symbols. In cities, these could be churches, hospitals, or subway stations.
在地图上我们可以看到很多不同的地标或者是标志，那像在城市里面我们就会看到教堂、医院啊，或者是捷运站的标志等等。
So yesterday we learned the word symbol. Yeah, it's a word that means a small picture that represents an idea or a word or, in this situation, a place. So on a map, a symbol for a hospital might be like a plus sign.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Or like a little house.
Yeah. Or the symbol for a church might be like a cross. Yeah. Well, back to the article. In the countryside, symbols might show hiking paths and camping areas. Yeah, I think camping areas are represented by a small symbol that's like a little tent.
Tree? Oh, a tent?
Yeah,
oh,
or
yeah.
it could be a tree.
Tree.
Tree maybe would be like a picnic area or a forest. Yeah, there are lots of different symbols. So the article used the word path. Path or path or path. This is a noun, and a path is like a road, but for your feet instead of cars. So a path can be like a sidewalk, a place that you walk on to get somewhere. But a path could also be a track through the woods. Many people have walked there before, and it makes a kind of road for your feet to follow. That's a path. Here's an example sentence. The path behind my house leads right to my school.
那在比较乡村的地方呢，地图上可能就会有一些步道或者是露营的地方的标志。Path 是名词，指的就是小路或者是小径，它的意思其实和 road 或者是 track 差不多。可是 road 指的是大马路，就是会有车子经过。那 path 相较之下呢，就是有人可以步行的地方。例句说，在我家后面的小路直通我的学校。
So path, there's a phrase in English to be on the right path. We can use this to mean literally, you're on the right way to a place. But it can also mean that you're doing things right.
You're doing the right things.
You're doing the right thing. You're moving towards your goal. You're on the right path. Okay, back to the article. There's usually a key to help you understand the symbols, but learning them will speed things up.
所以说，只要看懂这些地图上的标志，你就可以加快你看地图的速度。Speed things up 指的就是加快某件事情的速度 ，to increase the rate of something。那相反，如果我们要说降慢速度的话呢，就会是 slow down, or we can say slow something down.
The key that they're talking about in the article is not the kind of key that you use to open a door. A key on a map is like a list of the symbols that you'll see on the map to kind of help you understand what they mean. It's almost like an index. Okay, back to the article and the second point. Use the grid. All right. I think we used this word yesterday a few times when we talked about how a city is designed. Grid is a noun, and a grid is a network of lines that cross over from up to down and left to right, making lots of little squares. You use grids quite often in math. We also use grids on maps.
And also in your camera.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when you're trying to take a picture, they have grids.
Right, the grid kind of helps you frame the picture. That's right. Those lines on the screen, those are a grid. Grids make it easier to divide a map up into smaller sections, so we can find particular parts much easier.
那文章中的第二点呢，它就是要我们运用这个网格。Grid 指的就是网格，它是由横线啊，还有直线交错组成的小格子。那你在看地图的时候呢，就会看到这些格子，它们可以方便我们辨识，也可以方便我们把这个范围缩小来看。
So if you've ever used a Windows computer, you've probably used Microsoft Excel. That's a program that uses a grid, right? Lots of little squares or rectangles for you to put information inside. Okay, the article continues. Maps are divided up into squares to make it easier to find different locations, so use them.
Divide 是动词，指的就是分开或者是分组。You separate something into parts or groups. 那当我们 divide A up into B 的时候呢，指的就是把 A 分为 B。那在课文这里指的就是地图，它被分成很多正方形的小格子。这样一来，我们就可以更容易找到不同的位置还有地点。
The article used the word location.Yesterday we had the word locate, which is a verb, which means to find where something is. We did mention the word location as well. Location is a noun, and location is where something is. It's a particular place or position. Location can be used to talk about big or small areas. So, for example, Nikki and I, our location right now is in Da'an District in Taipei in Taiwan.Big companies like McDonald's and Starbucks have many locations. That means they have many stores in different places. Here's an example sentence. The party will be moved to a different location because the old place was too small.
We had the word locate last time, and now we have its noun form, location. Location 呢，就是 locate 的名词，讲的就是一个东西或者是一个地方的确切位置、地点。那 location 可以是一个很大的区域，也可以小至一个建筑物，这些都可以是 location。例句说，这个派对会被移到一个不同的地点，因为原本的地方太小了。
Okay, the article then continues with the third point. Point the map the right way. Make sure you're heading the right way. You can use nearby landmarks to check, or you can use a compass to find north.
那第三点呢，就是我们要确定我们是往正确的方向前进。像前面有说到的，可以利用附近的地标来确认，或者是我们可以用指南针来找到东西南北。
So Nikki referred to me earlier
as a compass.
As a compass. We should probably clarify what a compass is. Maybe you can guess. Compass is a noun, and a compass is a small tool which tells you the direction that you're facing or moving in.Compasses are usually small and round, and on the face you'll see written north, south, east, and west, and there will be a small needle that's usually red that reacts to the magnetic force of the North and South Pole to tell you where you're going. They're super cool, and they were invented in China a long time ago, and they're very, very useful.Compass 指的就是可以告诉我们方位的指南针或者是指北针。那如果是在海上航行的话呢，我们就说它是罗盘，这些都是一种 compass。那其实现在我们好像不需要真的用到什么指南针，但是在辨认方位的时候，我们还是要注意一下哪边是南，哪边是北。Okay, so the last thing on the list is... Pay attention to the scale is point number 4.So before we talk about that, let's talk about the word scale. Scale is a word that has many meanings. It's a noun. And here, the word scale is the way that we measure distances. The scale is the way that we take real-life distances and show them on a map. A piece of paper cannot be 10 kilometers big. So we need to make the distances smaller to fit on the piece of paper. So the way that we do this is by using a scale. On paper, 1 centimeter could represent 1 kilometer. That's the scale. Here's an example sentence. Using this scale, we can see that the next city is about 35 kilometers away.
Scale 是名词，在这边指的是比例尺，就是一个我们在看地图的时候很重要的东西。它下面在地图的下面，它会告诉你是1比多少，也就是说，地图上面的1公分是实际路上的几公尺或者是几公里。那 scale 除了当比例尺之外呢，它还有刻度或者是等级的意思。For example, when we fill out a survey,They might ask you, on a scale of 1 to 5, how much do you like it? Or how would you rate it?
This word has so many meanings. We can also use it as a verb to scale up or scale down. It means to make something bigger or more, or smaller or less, according to the measurements that we have. Okay, the article is going to explain more about paying attention to the scale. It says, check the scale of the map so you can understand distances. We've used this word distances a few times already, so let's clarify exactly what it means. Distance is a noun, and the distance is the length of space between two places. So, if I'm in Taipei and Nikki is in Taoyuan, the space between us is called distance. The distance between Taipei and London is 9,779 kilometers. That's a long way away from home. Here's another example. The distance between LA and New York is big, so most people fly from city to city.
所以说，看比例尺呢，就可以知道实际的距离。Distance 是名词，指的是距离。If something is in the distance, it means that it's pretty far away. 那像是现在因为 COVID-19 我们都要保持社交距离，那这个社交距离呢就会是 social distance。例句说，从洛杉矶到纽约的距离很远，所以多半人都会选择搭飞机。
Yeah, we can also use it as an adjective, distant, right? If something is distant, that means it's
Pretty
far
far
away.
away.
Yeah, hard to see. Okay, back to the article. This will tell you how far you are from your destination. Destination is a good word, it's a noun, and your destination is the place that you're trying to get to. If you're on a journey, the destination is the last place that you'll reach before ending your adventure.
那在知道距离之后，我们就可以知道我们距离这个目的地离我们多远。Destination 是名词，指的就是目的地，你想要去的地方。那在用 Google Map 的时候呢，上面就会告诉你 your location versus your destination。所以当你到的时候 ，Google 小姐就会说 your destination is on your right。
Well, the article finishes up here and it tells us more about that scale. It says, what's more, it allows you to guess how long it'll take to get there. Good luck.
What's more 指的就是再者或者是而且，通常就是你已经讲了一件事情了，你接着想要讲一个有关的事情，而且是更棒的东西，那你就会用 What's more or more importantly， 或者是我们也可以用 moreover， 都是一样的意思。
Right, so by understanding the scale of the map and the distances and also maybe by using some mathematics, we can actually work out how long it will take to walk to a place or drive to a place just by using a paper map. Nowadays, we have Google Maps, which kind of does it all for us,
Yeah,
right?
and then they tell you the traffic.
Yeah, that's pretty useful, actually. Well, that's the end of the article. I hope you guys learned something about reading traditional paper maps. But we do have a For You chat question to discuss, so let's do that now.
For You chat.
Okay, so Nikki, For You chat question for you. How often do you use Google Maps to find places?
Not very often, to be
Really?
honest. Yeah, because I have to go to school every day and I come back home. So I don't really go to other places.
Right, so you already know the way.
Yeah. Except when I need to find a restaurant.
Right, or like a new place. Yeah. I think I use Google Maps way too much. Yeah, like I use it even if I'm going to places that I know how to get to.
Really?
It's mostly because I want to check the time that it will take to go there. And also like the traffic, right? Or sometimes like if I'm in a different part of the city and I want to go home, I know how to get home, but I want to check.
See if there's another like quicker way.
Right. Like sometimes, it's faster to take the bus than to take the metro because you might not be close to a metro station. And to understand the bus routes, you kind of need Google Maps.
Yeah. I guess it's because I was born here in Taipei, so I kind of know everything.
Yeah, I guess in my hometown I would never use Google Maps because I just know how to go everywhere.
Yeah.
You guys can think about this too. How often do you use Google Maps to find places? I bet the answer is a lot. All right, well, that's all we have for today. Please don't get lost, and if you do, just ask a friendly stranger for help. I'm sure you'll be fine.
Or bring a paper map with you.
Bring a paper map with you. You'll never be lost again. All right, I'm Reese.
I'm Nikki.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Vocabulary Review. Improve. Jeremy's English really improved during his time at summer camp in the U.S. Skill. Ian's guitar skills are great because he has been practicing for years. Path. I took the path between the trees and up the mountain to the small temple. Location. Kylie asked her friend to send her his location so she could easily find him. Scale. Mickey didn't check his map's scale, so it took him much longer to reach the beach than he had expected. Distance. The distance between my home and our school is about 2 kilometers.
智慧小补帖
Grid. Compass. Destination.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000。02-2364-4000或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net